Broads Media.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. It sucks having to talk about this topic today. You never know where the week is going to take you. When you wake up on a Monday morning, okay, we know that the Phillies just played a 3 or 4 game series over the weekend. That's probably something we'll grab onto. But I didn't think before I even have a sip of my coffee, before I even get to wash my face with water and soap and wake up for the week, I have to deal with the potential Joel Embiid wants out of here rumor, and it just pisses me off. I don't like the way Joel Embiid handled things. I don't think that he's taking responsibility the way that he needs to, and I think it's foolish. Now, Joel is a very, very sharp mind. I think it's very methodical what he's doing. He's been here for a while. He knows how we grab onto things. He understands the sports scene. So for him to take it to Twitter afterwards and pretend it was a troll job, it upsets me. I think he's trying to pour water on it, and he's trying to tread lightly, and I guess maybe he thinks it spiraled way too far out of control, but that would stun me because he absolutely has seen it a billion other times with a billion other athletes and even his own teammate. Whether Ben Simmons himself was throwing around crap or Rich Paul or Clutch Sports or anyone during the time of Ben's tenure here, it was dissected every which way. So that's why I can't buy the fact that, he thought it wasn't going to be anything monstrous and he didn't think that we would care too much. I don't understand that side of it because Joel is super intelligent. I'm upset. I don't hate Joel. I don't think we need to get rid of Joel Embiid. Time's running out. And that's inevitable at this rate, if you don't win a title, of course. But he needs to self-reflect. He sucked in Game 7. He no-showed in Game 7, while Jason Tatum, who blew basically all series, decided to show up at the very tail end of Game 6, and then he was there on his own floor to bring that team to the Eastern Conference Finals. Where was Joel demanding the basketball from James Harden at the end of Game 6? Sure, there were wide open looks for DeAnthony Melton, and other teammates did have some shots that an NBA player should knock down. At the end of the day, this is the NBA postseason. You are the top dog. You are the MVP. You have to go win that basketball game, and he didn't put his fingerprints on it enough. So Joel has to take way more of the blame than it seems he is. That's what's frustrating. I'm not giving up on that level of talent, whether you like it or not. Just because he said some things that I don't agree with doesn't mean that I'm willing to set him free. But what does this mean really? And I have the clip here and we'll play it in a second. But there's two things that this can mean. Is Joel Embiid using the media to put pressure on Daryl Morey? He did say that he uses the media, and he gave Tyrese Maxey as an example to try and get more out of him, to try and use it as leverage. So if he has openly admitted in the past and in that interview that that's something that he likes to do, I have to put it in the equation for this. So it's possible that this is all for Daryl Morey. I don't know why he needs to use it that way, because I would think that him and Daryl Morey have worked together long enough that he could just talk to him. This is unnecessary. There's no reason for you to use this to get to Daryl Morey. Sit down with them, chat it up, discuss. Go out to dinner, go to the office, however you want to incorporate the dialogue. But I would think that you could get to him and speak to him. And this should be done without needing a microphone in front of your face. What are we talking about here? You all have hunger. You all want to win. You want to compete for an NBA championship. This isn't breaking news. Sit down. You're on the same team. Go to Camden. Go to the Sixers facility. And talk about it. What's best? What can we do? We just brought in Nick Nurse, for God's sake. Let's not be silly. So I hate that. If that's why, if that was his plan, if that was the methodical approach, I think it's embarrassing. Quite frankly, I think it's stupid. If you need to utilize media coverage, then you're not as strong and you're not on the same page as much as you think you are. Franchises that know they're great and franchises that could smell the recipe and smell what's cooking and you can all buy in and know that we're doing the right things here and we see what you see and we believe in one another, you don't have to utilize that tactic. So either it's just Joel going out of touch here, or there's bigger issues. So, is he trying to put pressure on the front office, or is there truth to it? He sees that the James Harden relationship won't be fixed. At one point, maybe they thought it could. Maybe they thought that him and Daryl Morey are close with one another and they're ironing out all the details to try and run it back with the new head coach, asking Maxey to do more, asking Harden to play a different way. Whether he likes it or not, he'll see the game plan and buy into it. Maybe we're all living in la-la land to think that that was ever truly on the table. There were a lot of conflicting reports. Some sides say that it's not even close. Other sides say that there's more willingness out of James Harden in his camp to put on a Sixers uniform again and run this thing back. I don't think it's going to happen at this rate. I would love for it to. With everything laid out right now, what I have as option number one is James Harden returns, Nick Nurse tries to get creative, throw totally different looks at a team's direction, and just get creative with what you're working with here. There's some different things you could do that we haven't seen with this core under Doc Rivers, and I'm signing up for it because I think whether it's the best in the league or not, and I don't think it will be. I think it's best for the current state of the franchise to try to go as far as humanly possible. This does throw a wrench, though, in all of it because I'm confused and I'm disappointed. And for the first time outside of basketball, you're going to make and miss shots. That stuff happens. We can't control that. That's what happens in sports. You're going to have a wide open jumper, you're going to fall short. You're going to have a defensive play, you thought you took the charge, it gets called a block, you get screwed, you lose a basketball game. From that level, sports-wise, I've been disappointed in Joel Embiid before, but not like this. This is the first time, for me personally, I'm experiencing it to more of a personal level. I don't despise the guy. I still have feelings for him, and just as a sports fan, and I still feel connected to him, and I still do believe in his ability to score, his ability to defend, which sometimes just gets thrown out the window and nobody gives it enough love. Tyrese Maxey gets exposed defensively. James Harden gets exposed defensively. His rim protection is massive, and for Nick Nurse to have that in the holster, I'm thrilled to see what that's all about. If he happens to be here with Nick Nurse and tied at the hip for a longer period of time than we envisioned maybe a few weeks back. It's crazy how much things change. And I wonder if Joel Embiid is looking around the league and seeing it's time for Damian Lillard. And maybe that's the eye-opening experience. It might have to take me begging my way out of town or demanding myself out of town. I don't want to be like Damian Lillard, stuck in Portland. While I love Philadelphia, and they did make it my home for me, I can't get stuck in a Damian Lillard way. Now, I mentioned, is he using it to put pressure on Morey? He knows he can't afford another punt year, and I'll use punt with the possible James Harden trade, bringing back a combination of a couple role players. He doesn't think that that'll work. He doesn't think that that's going to push them over the edge, and you'd essentially be taking a step back, which he's right, but he's not going to sign up for that. So which one is it? Which of those two options is how he feels deep down? And my guess is number two, the latter. Unfortunately, he's smelling that the Harden thing is breaking, and there's no fixing it. So I'm going to play the clip now. You can hear it, even though I'm sure a lot of you have heard it. Let's take a listen.
Your brain, but what can we look forward from Joel Embiid?
I just want to win a championship. Whatever it takes. I don't know where that's going to be, whether it's in Philly or, anywhere else. I just want to have a chance to accomplish that. I want to see what it feels like to win that first one and then pick about, the next one.
I don't really care what else was said after that. You heard it, and he had to throw in there. I thought it was strange. Why? It didn't need that. It didn't need whether it's here or somewhere else. You could just talk about how much you desire and how much you really do think about and how determined you are to go win a title. Where it's happening. Why? Right? Why? What's the benefits? He's smart. He knows we'll know. He knows we'll find it. There was a reason for it. This was detailed. Why, Joel? I think he wants everyone to know. We're running out. I won't be here forever. So, Daryl, and I know I'm bouncing back and forth because that wouldn't have been the second option when I just mentioned it was possibly the latter. That would say he wants Morey to figure this thing out. The problem is everybody wants it now. Microwave society. Get it done. Bring in the additions. Let him know that you're believing in Joel. Trade James. Show him something that you feel could be strong enough. Well, it doesn't happen overnight. The way to maximize your return is to play the long game, is to say that you're unwilling to move on for some random role players and some average Joes. You got to make others suffer, and you got to play hardball. Getting James Harden for Ben Simmons wasn't just out of nowhere. There was a long journey, and it was hell, and it sucked, and it was draining. And maybe Joel just realizes that and doesn't want to get put through that test again, which would mean really Ben Simmons screwed this whole thing up, and there were a lot of problems organizationally for years, dating back to Brian Colangelo and all that stuff. And you know how strongly he feels about Sam Hinkie and what happened then. He'll let you know, and he's very vocal about it. So I'm just sure from top to bottom, he's looking at everything since he stepped foot in this city and realizes this is a mess, and I'm in my prime, and I just won MVP. And I don't know how many years I have it at the top until I start to break down because I always seem to have some lingering issues, and whenever the postseason happens, I start to fall apart. So now's the time I got to really figure this thing out. The problem is what I just mentioned is self-reflecting. I don't know if he's self-reflecting the way that he fully needs to. There might be some of it, but not enough internally. He made the statement last year, which I didn't even knock him for because in totality, he was right. What did he say? He said that we all need to get better. I do too. I'm a part of that, but we all need to get better. And he's referencing the people around him. There's truth to that. But I don't think he's putting enough blame on his own shoulders. I don't think that he's dissecting what he did and his approach as much as he should. Because he's not wrong. It's similar to the Tobias Harris thing. There's always a line. When he says, no one can do what I can do, and people are taking what I do for granted, and I can defend the best teams, other players, and I can put the ball in my hands, I can space the floor, I can knock down shots from three. He's absolutely right. But he took it to a level where he thinks he's Kobe. You're not Kobe, dude. Embiid is right to say everybody else needs to improve. You do too. Big time. There's a lot of blame that goes to you, Joel. Are you aware? I don't know if he is. That's a problem. So I'm angry at him. I thought it was stupid for him to take this road, no matter what the purpose was. No matter why. I don't care. I don't care what the agenda was. I don't care if it's Morey. I don't care if it's just selfishness. I don't care if it's because of where James Harden is leaning. I don't care why. He's deflecting deeper issues. I'm not getting rid of him for nothing. I'm not quitting on him. Superstar talent is necessary. It's just disappointing. Very, very, very disappointing. You know what this is like? Let's say, and I'm not speaking from personal experience or anything, okay? Let's say the wife decides to throw a few things your way. Hey, babe, I need you to take out the trash. I got to clean out the dishwasher. I got a couple errands to run. When I return, can that be finished, please? And you hit her with a, yeah, don't worry about it. Absolutely, I got it. And as soon as she walks in from grocery shopping and all that, she's got 7 bags around her hands trying to make it all in one trip, because we all know nothing sucks more than going back to the trunk for round 2. You try and get it all in one run at it. And everything's still a mess. It's all dirty. And you have the balls to look her in the eyes and say, want to get under the sheets? Want to shut the door? Want to get a little action going? In what world? You didn't do what you were supposed to do. That's Embiid right now. You failed. You had a job. You didn't complete the job. And you think it's okay to start discussing other towns? I got to do this. If I'm going to get to where I want to be in my career, I need to be surrounded by others, and it might not be in Philly. How are you not digesting this properly, Joel? It's ridiculous. I'm just ranting. I'm just getting out my frustration. I still have a connection with Embiid, and I'm not giving up on him. This falls in the category of we all make mistakes. I think Joel Embiid made a mistake. I don't hate him. I don't despise him. There was a lack of judgment here, though. And I don't know if he's feeling a certain type of way about it. Therefore, he runs to Twitter and starts pretending it's more of a troll job than it really was. But that's a hard sell for me. I think it's a bit naive to just fall right into that. He doesn't deserve that wiggle room. I won't allow for him to maneuver out of this one so easily. Maybe there's some other things. For example, like I brought up, after the series is over against Boston, there was some maneuvering when he mentioned others, not just him, need to add to the game. If we're going to get to that next step, others need to improve. Okay, let him wiggle out of that. Not my favorite quote in the world, but there is truth to it. If you want to win that trophy, there's a lot that needs to be done more than just Joel, but Joel needs to take a look in the mirror. I let that slither. This one I can. I'm sorry. He's a very smart man. And because he's been on the record stating what it means to him to sometimes use the media, that's because there's layers to this. It's crazy. The change in the roster. That was mentioned too. The change in the roster. How difficult it is. The challenge. He likes the challenge, but it's a challenge. So is going to a new team. Going to a new team is more than just a new roster and a couple players here and there every year, which I do think sucks, and I do think it takes a toll on you. But there's more to it than just that. There's a new city. There's a new getting your family incorporated. There's a new head coach. There's a new front office. There's everything. So if you're having trouble with a new point guard and a new bench piece, well, now you're going to have a billion things that's challenging to add to it. I just don't know if that adds up for me. 3 new additions to the Sixers roster. That's a challenge. And it is. You also have to note that going to a new city is that times 7. I don't know, man. I don't know. You don't trade him. I think the optics was terrible. All right, the optics were terrible. Let's go to the phones. I'm curious how you all felt out there. Let's run to the Anytime hotline and kick things off.
Hey, Hunter. Glad to see you're still doing well. As a supporter.
Thank you.
I just think that the whole troll job, he's acting like it's a troll job now, considering the negative backlash from the media and the fans. if it was a positive reaction, he would have stuck to his guns and still acted like it was, on for a trade proposal. But now that he realizes that, oh snap, I upset the fans, he's doing a 180. So I don't think it's a genuine troll reaction. I think it's actually just, there's truth to it. It's much more truth than quote unquote troll.
I don't disagree. I feel the same way. This is where I'm having a problem, though, tying it together. What did he expect? Saying those words, for him to go to Twitter to try and calm everybody and to hit the relax button, when he makes those comments, what did he think we would do? How do you think the headlines would snag it? What do you think would be written? What do you think would be said on sports talk radio? How do you think fans would feel? You mentioned if it was positive, he would have stayed to his guns. I don't know how anybody in his position would make a statement like that and ever think that there would be a 0.01% that it would be perceived in a positive way, unless it's not us. Forget this fan base. The NBA world would be jumping up and down. The NBA world would be excited because this is all about drama. This is all about the craziness, the hecticness. Everybody's all in. You're basically watching some sort of reality television, and that's where he thought the positive strides would be, is with everyone but. It would be the New York Knicks fans who continue to believe that they have a shot at actually acquiring him, which there's no way in hell. You look at his contract. Some Sixers fans are holding this grasp on the deal. Well, he signed. It's the NBA. The second he walks into the office, kicks the door down, and demands to be somewhere else, it happens. So it doesn't matter. If they don't want to play, they won't put on the uniform, they won't show up, they'll bitch and complain, they'll mope, they'll do whatever it takes to get to where they want to get to. There's nothing you could do about it. Now, you might make it toxic for them. You might have to go through a Ben Simmons situation, go into practice, getting kicked out of practice. He was supposed to hold a press conference. He no-shows. Doc Rivers is there. It could get ugly, and it could get to this level of stank, but at the end of the day, Ben Simmons got out of Philly. He wanted to. It might have not have went as smooth as he wanted. He's not here, though, and he got moved. I don't care what the contract is. It's about the words that actually come out of the mouth of Joel Embiid. The second it's stated, the second it's over, and there's no going back. When it breaks, there's no way you could fix it. It's completely torn. But that's where I'm conflicted, because I just don't get what he thought was going to be the case today. It's baffling.
Hey, bro, call me crazy, but here's what I'm thinking, all right? Last time we saw Joel played, he went 5 for 18 in a Game 7 in a series that he was up 3-2, right? 5 for 18. What have we seen from him since then? He's smiling, he's going to parties, he's talking about maybe winning a championship somewhere else. Maybe he should just go, honestly. Because for me, I want my superstars. If you shoot 5 for 18 in a Game 7, I don't want to see any smiles. I don't want to talk about you going anywhere else. I just want to see a locked-in and focused Joel Embiid promising a championship to the Philadelphia 76ers, because he owes the Sixers a championship with all the money and love and respect and everything, blame deflecting, and you're talking about going somewhere else. You know what? Go somewhere else then.
Yeah, see, this is where I disagree. I don't want the knee-jerk reaction because he said something stupid. Now you're going to counter that with a very aggressive, emotional move that isn't best for your franchise. We need to find that line. And also, I don't want Joel Embiid to cry all summer long. Kyle Schwarber says it best. When things go south, he stands right in front of his locker and he says, I played baseball a long period of time. I'm going to be fine. I love that approach. Now, us as fans, we could be destroyed. We could be devastated. We could be heartbroken. And, when you lose in the World Series, I'm sure they wear it for a few days and they wear it for a week or so. When you get knocked out of the playoffs, your season's over. But 2-3 weeks afterwards, I don't want Kyle Schwarber's head still in the pillow where he's so depressed he can't get out of bed. I don't want Joel Embiid to feel that way. Maxey was there. We love Maxey, right? Maxey was at that all-white party. James Harden was at the party. I got no problem. Joel Embiid's not some out till 5 a.m. pouring beer down his throat in a funnel and getting shit-faced nonstop, not working on his game. The guy does obsess over the craft. The guy does go to work. He was an MVP of the league. You can't just accidentally walk into that. That's where this fine line is. Joel Embiid, I don't have an issue with him wearing it on his sleeve at time, watching him walk off the court against Toronto, being upset. That's fine. But we're deep into the offseason now. I don't want him still wearing it on the sleeve to the point where he's now affected and can't be a person. You got to find the balance as a pro athlete. That's where I'm going to disagree with you. And I'm also disagreeing with the then go then. That's been majority of what I heard today. I don't want him to just go. I think that would be bad. You'd be worse. You're restarting at that rate. You just signed Nick Nurse here. You didn't bring the addition of Nick Nurse to start all over, and then here's a rebuild, and now you just have assets. If you traded Joel, right, and let's just say it happened, and you bring in a bunch of okay guys, average 16 points per game, someone averages 9 points per game, and you get a collective group. Here's Maxey. You know what you are? What? 7th seed? That's what you are. You're a team that gets knocked out by the real four of when you see Milwaukee, when you see Boston, when you see the Sixers, when you see Miami, that core group, they destroy you, and then you're done in 4 or 5 in the first round. You might say, well, they're beating you anyway. Yeah, they're beating you in Game 7 in the second round or Game 6 in your home building with a couple minutes to go with wide open looks that you have to drain. There's a big difference for me. You're closer than you want to believe you are, and it's painful because you're right there, and you can feel it just in your fingertips, and then it just gets pulled away from you, underneath of you. So I get it. It's supposed to be damaging emotionally, but I don't see it the same exact way as you do. I think that's a little too aggressive for my liking.
Yo, bros, even before getting into the Joel Embiid comments, let's just get this straight. This Sixers team is mediocre at best. They're not getting past no second round anytime soon unless something major happens. And regarding Embiid's comments, first thing Embiid needs to be doing is holding himself accountable the way he played in Game 6 and Game 7. And it seems like he's talking about winning championships somewhere, and he needs more help. Well, bro, you're supposed to be the man. You're supposed to be the go-to guy. So you're the one who needs to be dominating these games, especially Game 7s. You see LeBron copping out in Game 7s, yet Embiid said he wants to be one of the best in the world. So come on, man. And besides, I don't know what the Sixers are going to do because the problem is if they want to blow it all up, do you really trust this ownership to get it done again? I mean, all those assets they had beforehand, we got Maxey and Embiid with how many top first-round picks?
Yeah, but the difference is the way that happened with the league and Hinkie and Colangelo and this and that and the no GM. Brett Brown's your head coach and GM. Yes, would I trust Daryl Morey from scratch? Even though he's more of a go in now and let's go win a championship guy, that's how he's seen. Would I feel okay with that? Yeah, I mean, Joshua Harris's job is to give them every ounce of money, and they're willing to spend a ton of money and go get their stars, and they're willing to do that. They have a beautiful facility. They're going to bring in a new stadium in Philadelphia. The ownership group does what they need to do from their angle. They do a fine job. Do I trust Daryl Morey's basketball mind? Absolutely. I know that there's frustration because he doesn't work as quickly as others want him to, but that's because you won't get fair compensation if you act the way that fans want him to act as quickly. It doesn't work that way. You have to play hardball. They don't want to blow this up, though. You said they want to blow this up. There's a few things I disagree with. They're not mediocre. They are not mediocre. You don't win 50-plus games and get to game 7s of the second round as mediocre. They're missing something. They're missing whatever it is to get them finally to the Eastern Conference Finals, but that's just being upset speaking. That's just being destroyed speaking. That's year after year getting your heart broken. You don't know how to handle it. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's definitely not easy, but I think your broken fandom, because you want it so badly, is speaking more than the objective view on who the Sixers are. And they also don't want to blow this thing up. That's not what they want to do. They want Nick Nurse to be able to work with Maxey and Tobias and Embiid and Harden and PJ Tucker and work with the core that they had last year, because they don't think that they were too far off. And I don't disagree with that, but I don't know if everybody's feeling the return. And it starts with Harden. If Harden openly admitted, I'd love to be back here and I would play here, and I think we can do this, we're not having any of these conversations. I think it's somewhat smooth sailing. It's all because of Harden and his unwillingness to say, absolutely, I'm back. Let's do it. It puts everybody up in arms, and now here we are. Let's take one more.
Look, I have serious doubts about this being an actual troll job, but you know what pisses me off the most about all of this? Is that, dude, you were horrible in Game 7. You fucking sucked in Game 7. Now is not the time to be trolling whether or not it actually is a troll. Some shit to be fucking joking about. Like, you're joking about requesting a trade after you sucked in Game 7. It doesn't make any sense. I feel like he's just claiming that he's a troll so that the Philly media doesn't blast him for it.
Well, we're not stopping. He got blasted, and he deserved to get blasted. So whatever he thought he was going to do to make up for it, make all these comments about how it was a joke, he did suck. Tatum didn't suck. He didn't suck in Game 7. He didn't suck at the end of Game 6. He found his rhythm, and he put a dagger in your back, and he cut your throat. Seriously, beheaded. You got to find that. You have to. Let's go, Joel. Plenty of others with skill sets as high as yours, and if not, some guys who have less talent than you have it. Now's not the time. You didn't read the room. And it makes me sad. I don't hate him. It makes me sad, though. That's where I stand today. We'll see if there's any more that happens from here, but that's where we stand today. I appreciate you all. You're the greatest. I love you. We'll be speaking soon. I'll see you all on the next one.